In the heart of New York City, where dreams are made and broken every day, there lived a remarkable woman named Dr. Elena Carter. Her journey to success was anything but ordinary. Born into a modest family in a small neighborhood on the outskirts of Brooklyn, Elena grew up surrounded by challenges. Her mother worked tirelessly at 3 different jobs just to make ends meet, while her father passed away when she was only 10 years old. Despite these hardships, Elena's spirit remained unbroken. From an early age, she showed an uncanny ability to turn obstacles into opportunities. Elena's love for music began with an old keyboard that her mother bought from a second-hand store. The keys were sticky, some notes didn't sound right, and it often needed repairs, but to young Elena it was magical. Every evening after finishing her homework, she would sit by the window, playing melodies that echoed through their tiny apartment. Music became her escape, a way to express emotions she couldn't put into words. But more than that, it sparked a curiosity within her about how things worked. She wanted to understand why certain keys produced specific sounds or why some parts of the keyboard failed entirely. This fascination eventually led her to pursue studies in both music and technology, fields that seemed worlds apart, but which she managed to merge seamlessly. Fast forward 2 decades, and Elena had transformed herself into one of the most influential figures in the tech industry. As the CEO of Harmony Tech, a startup specializing in cutting-edge music education software, she revolutionized the way people learned and interacted with music. Her flagship product, Melod AI, combined artificial intelligence with interactive learning tools, making music accessible to millions around the globe. It wasn't just another app, it was a movement. Critics hailed her as a pioneer, and her company quickly gained traction among educators, musicians, and tech enthusiasts alike. Despite her achievements, Elena faced constant scrutiny because of who she was, a black woman leading a predominantly white male-dominated field. While many admired her work, others doubted her capabilities, questioning whether she truly deserved her position or if her rise was merely a result of diversity quotas. These whispers followed her everywhere, but Elena refused to let them define her. Instead, she channeled her energy into proving her critics wrong, one groundbreaking innovation at a time. One evening, Elena received an invitation to speak at an exclusive networking event hosted by some of the biggest names in business and entertainment. The event was held in a luxurious ballroom adorned with crystal chandeliers and gilded furnishings. Attendees included CEOs, venture capitalists, celebrities, and other high-profile individuals, all eager to rub shoulders with the movers and shakers of society. For Elena, this was an opportunity not only to showcase her work but also to inspire others who might be facing similar struggles. When she arrived at the venue, dressed elegantly in a navy blue suit tailored to perfection, she immediately noticed the air of exclusivity. Conversations buzzed around her, filled with laughter and clinking glasses. Yet beneath the polished surface, Elena sensed a subtle tension. People glanced at her curiously, whispering behind their hands. Some approached her with genuine admiration, congratulating her on her accomplishments. Others, however, seemed skeptical, sizing her up as though trying to determine if she belonged in such prestigious company. As the evening progressed, Elena delivered a captivating speech about the intersection of music and technology, drawing applause from the audience. Her passion was palpable, and for a moment she felt like she had won them over. But little did she know, a group of attendees had something else planned for her. Among them were a few powerful executives who harbored outdated biases and viewed Elena's presence as a threat to their traditional ways of thinking. They saw her not as a peer, but as someone who needed to be put in her place. After her speech, these individuals approached her with feigned friendliness. One of them gestured toward a dusty corner of the ballroom where an old, neglected piano sat. Its once gleaming surface was now dull and scratched, its keys yellowed with age. Several strings inside were snapped, rendering it completely unplayable. Smiling smugly, one of the men said, "Dr. Carter, we hear you're quite the musician. Why don't you show us your skills? Play something meaningful for us." His tone was laced with mockery, and his companions chuckled knowingly. The room fell silent as all eyes turned to Elena. Some attendees shifted uncomfortably, sensing the cruelty behind the request, while others leaned forward, eager to see how she would respond. It was clear that this wasn't a genuine compliment. It was a calculated insult designed to embarrass her. The message was loud and clear. You may have achieved success, but you'll never truly belong here. For a brief moment, Elena felt a pang of anger. How dare they treat her this way? Hadn't she already proven herself countless times? But then she reminded herself of the lessons she'd learned throughout her life, that setbacks were merely setups for comebacks. Rather than letting their disrespect rattle her, she decided to use this moment to demonstrate exactly what she was capable of. Little did they know, their attempt to humiliate her would soon become the highlight of the evening, and a story no one in that room would ever forget. Elena stood frozen for a moment, her fingers brushing lightly against the cracked wood of the piano. The room was eerily quiet now, save for the faint hum of murmurs rippling through the crowd. Every pair of eyes in the ballroom seemed to be fixed on her, waiting for her next move. Some attendees leaned forward, their curiosity piqued, while others exchanged knowing glances, confident that they had backed her into a corner. For Elena, this wasn't just an awkward situation. It felt deeply personal, like a test of her worthiness not only as a CEO but as a human being. Her mind raced back to moments in her life when she had faced similar challenges. Growing up, she'd often been told she didn't belong, whether it was classmates teasing her for wearing hand-me-down clothes or teachers doubting her ability to excel because of where she came from. But each time, she found a way to rise above it. She remembered sitting at that old keyboard in her childhood apartment, its sticky keys and broken notes serving as both a frustration and a teacher. Even then, she had learned to adapt, finding workarounds to create music despite the limitations of her instrument. That same resilience, she realized, was needed now more than ever. As the seconds ticked by, Elena closed her eyes and took a deep breath. She could feel her heart pounding in her chest, but instead of letting fear take over, she allowed herself to focus. This wasn't about proving anything to the people in the room. It was about staying true to who she was. Her thoughts drifted to her mother, whose sacrifices had paved the way for her success. She imagined her mother's voice whispering, "Don't let them see you break, Elena. Show them what you're made of." Opening her eyes, Elena scanned the piano again. To anyone else, it might have looked like nothing more than a useless relic, discarded and forgotten. But to her, it was a canvas, a blank slate waiting to be transformed. She thought about all the times she had taken something imperfect and turned it into something extraordinary. Her company itself was built on that very principle, using technology to bridge gaps and solve problems. Why should this moment be any different? A small smile began to form on Elena's lips as an idea started to take shape in her mind. Instead of seeing the broken piano as an obstacle, she viewed it as an opportunity. This wasn't just about playing music, it was about redefining what was possible. She reached into her pocket and pulled out her phone, glancing briefly at the device hidden inside. It was a prototype of her latest invention, a portable AI-powered sound synthesizer that Harmony Tech had been developing in secret. Designed to work with virtually any surface, the device could detect vibrations and translate them into rich, layered sounds. In essence, it could turn even the most damaged object into a musical instrument. Elena's hands moved instinctively as she placed sensors on the piano's frame, positioning them strategically to capture every nuance of its structure. She opened an app on her phone and tapped a few commands, watching as the system synced with the sensors. The process took less than a minute, but to those watching, it felt like an eternity. Some attendees whispered among themselves, speculating about what she was doing. Others simply stared, their skepticism slowly giving way to intrigue. Once everything was set up, Elena stepped back and addressed the crowd. Her voice was calm but commanding, carrying a quiet confidence that silenced the room. "This piano may be broken," she began, "but I believe there's beauty in imperfection. Sometimes we need to look beyond what's visible and find new ways to create meaning." Her words hung in the air, resonating with many in the audience who had faced their own struggles. With that, Elena placed her hands gently on the keys, though she knew they wouldn't produce any sound on their own. What happened next was nothing short of magical. As she pressed down on the first key, a soft ethereal note filled the room, not from the piano itself, but from the speakers connected to the AI synthesizer. The melody was hauntingly beautiful, blending classical undertones with modern electronic elements. Each note seemed to tell a story, evoking emotions that ranged from sorrow to triumph. The once lifeless piano had been reborn, its brokenness now part of its charm. The audience was spellbound. No one dared to speak or even breathe too loudly, afraid of interrupting the moment. People who had initially dismissed Elena as just another guest speaker were now leaning forward in awe, their jaws slightly agape. Even those who had orchestrated the prank found themselves unable to look away. They had expected her to falter, to walk away embarrassed or admit defeat. Instead, she had turned their mockery into a masterpiece. As the final notes lingered in the air, Elena stepped back from the piano and met the gaze of the man who had challenged her earlier. His smug expression had vanished, replaced by a mixture of shock and admiration. She didn't say a word, she didn't need to. Her actions spoke louder than any retort ever could. For Elena, this wasn't about revenge or proving someone wrong. It was about showing the world that creativity and innovation could flourish even in the face of adversity. By the time she finished, the atmosphere in the room had shifted completely. What had started as a cruel joke had become a powerful demonstration of ingenuity and grace. And while Elena couldn't undo the prejudices that still existed, she had planted a seed of change, one that would continue to grow long after the night ended. Elena's transformation of the broken piano was nothing short of extraordinary. As the first notes resonated through the ballroom, the audience collectively held its breath. The melody she played wasn't just music. It was a narrative, a story, told without words. Each note carried weight and meaning, reflecting her journey from humble beginnings to becoming one of the most innovative leaders in her field. The haunting beauty of the piece seemed to echo the struggles she had faced. The late nights studying by candlelight, the countless rejections she endured before finding success, and the constant fight against biases that tried to hold her back. The AI-powered synthesizer she had developed worked seamlessly with the sensors placed on the piano. Every time Elena pressed a key, the system analyzed the vibrations and translated them into rich, layered sounds. The technology didn't just mimic traditional piano tones, it added depth and texture, incorporating elements of strings, percussion, and even ambient effects. To the untrained ear, it sounded like a full orchestra playing in harmony. But for those who understood the science behind it, it was clear that this was something groundbreaking. A fusion of art and technology that pushed boundaries in ways no one had imagined. As the performance unfolded, the attendees found themselves completely captivated. Some closed their eyes, letting the music wash over them, while others leaned forward, trying to decipher how Elena was achieving such a feat. A few people discreetly pulled out their phones, recording the moment so they could revisit it later, or share it with others. The room, which had been buzzing with skepticism and arrogance just moments earlier, was now filled with an almost reverent silence. Even those who had orchestrated the prank were visibly stunned, their initial smirks replaced by expressions of disbelief and wonder. What made the moment even more powerful was the symbolism behind it. Elena hadn't just played the piano, she had reclaimed it. She took something that was meant to embarrass her, something broken and forgotten, and turned it into a source of inspiration. It was as if she was saying, "You can throw obstacles in my path, but I will find a way to rise above them." Her calm demeanor and unwavering focus conveyed a deeper message. True strength lies not in avoiding challenges, but in facing them head-on and using them to fuel your creativity. When the final note faded into the air, there was a brief pause before the room erupted into applause. People stood up, clapping enthusiastically, some even whistling or cheering. Many attendees rushed toward the stage, eager to congratulate Elena and learn more about the technology she had used. Journalists and influencers present at the event scrambled to capture interviews, knowing they were witnessing something historic. Within minutes, snippets of the performance began circulating on social media, accompanied by hashtags like "Arm Innovation at its best" and "Resilience in Action." But the impact went beyond immediate reactions. For many in the audience, Elena's demonstration sparked a shift in perspective. CEOs and executives who had previously dismissed her as a token hire or underestimated her capabilities suddenly saw her in a new light. They realized that her presence in the room wasn't just about diversity. It was about innovation, leadership, and the ability to think outside the box. Several high-profile attendees approached her afterward, expressing interest in collaborating with Harmony Tech and exploring potential partnerships. Even the individuals who had initiated the prank found themselves grappling with mixed emotions. On one hand, they felt embarrassed by their behavior and ashamed of underestimating her. On the other hand, they couldn't deny the brilliance of what she had accomplished. One of them, a middle-aged man who had smirked during the initial challenge, approached Elena hesitantly after the performance. He extended his hand and said, "Dr. Carter, I owe you an apology. That was incredible. You've proven us all wrong tonight." Elena accepted his handshake graciously, her expression softening. "It's not about proving anyone wrong," she replied. "It's about showing what's possible when we embrace challenges instead of fearing them." The evening became a turning point, not just for Elena, but for everyone in attendance. Conversations shifted from superficial networking to meaningful discussions about innovation, resilience, and the importance of inclusivity in leadership. Attendees began sharing their own stories of overcoming adversity, inspired by Elena's example. A young woman working in tech confided in Elena about the discrimination she had faced in her career, admitting that seeing Elena handle the situation with such grace gave her hope. Another attendee, a seasoned entrepreneur, praised Elena for her ability to turn negativity into opportunity, calling it a masterclass in emotional intelligence. By the end of the night, Elena's name was on everyone's lips. Reporters flocked to her for interviews, asking questions about her background, her company, and the technology she had showcased. Social media platforms lit up with praise, with users hailing her as a role model for aspiring entrepreneurs and innovators. Videos of her performance garnered millions of views within hours, sparking debates about diversity in tech and the need for more inclusive spaces. Memes and GIFs capturing the stunned faces of the pranksters went viral, further amplifying the message that underestimating someone based on stereotypes is a mistake no one should make twice. For Elena, however, the night wasn't about fame or recognition. It was about sending a message, one that would resonate far beyond the confines of that glittering ballroom. She knew that moments like these were rare opportunities to inspire change, to remind people that greatness often emerges from adversity. As she packed up her equipment and prepared to leave, she reflected on the evening's events. Yes, she had been insulted and humiliated, but she had also transformed that humiliation into something beautiful. And in doing so, she had shown the world that true power lies not in avoiding challenges but in embracing them and turning them into triumphs. That night, as Elena walked out of the venue, she felt a renewed sense of purpose. The broken piano had become a symbol of her journey, a reminder that even the most flawed circumstances could be reshaped into something extraordinary with vision, determination, and a little bit of ingenuity. The aftermath of Elena's performance at the networking event was nothing short of a whirlwind. By the time she stepped off the makeshift stage, the energy in the room had shifted entirely. What had started as a cruel prank designed to belittle her had transformed into a moment of awe and admiration. People who had initially dismissed her as just another guest speaker were now clamoring to meet her, eager to learn more about the woman behind the unforgettable performance. The ballroom buzzed with excitement, and for the first time that evening, Elena felt like she truly belonged. As attendees surrounded her, their questions came fast and furious. "How did you do that? What kind of technology is this? Can we see it in action again?" Elena smiled warmly, patiently explaining the mechanics of her AI-powered synthesizer and how it worked in tandem with the sensors on the broken piano. She spoke passionately about her company's mission to make music accessible to everyone, regardless of skill level or resources. Her enthusiasm was infectious, and soon, even those who weren't particularly interested in tech found themselves captivated by her vision. But it wasn't just curiosity driving the crowd, it was respect. Many of the same individuals who had doubted her earlier were now apologizing profusely, admitting they had underestimated her. One executive, a man in his late 50s with salt and pepper hair, approached her with genuine remorse. "Dr. Carter," he said, extending his hand, "I have to admit I didn't think much of your invitation to this event. But tonight, you've shown me what real innovation looks like. Please forgive my earlier skepticism." Elena accepted his apology graciously, nodding with understanding. She knew that not everyone would immediately embrace change, but moments like these reminded her why perseverance mattered. The media coverage that followed only amplified the impact of her performance. Journalists swarmed the event, eager to document the story of the Black CEO who had turned a humiliating prank into a triumphant display of creativity. Videos of her playing the broken piano went viral almost instantly, racking up millions of views across platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. Social media users couldn't stop talking about it, praising her poise, ingenuity, and ability to rise above adversity. Memes began circulating, showing side-by-side images of the smirking pranksters before the performance and their shocked expressions afterward. The hashtag #BrokenPianoHero trended worldwide, sparking conversations about resilience, diversity, and the importance of challenging outdated biases. For Elena, the attention was both flattering and overwhelming. While she appreciated the recognition, she remained focused on the bigger picture. This wasn't about her. It was about using her platform to inspire others. In interviews, she emphasized the message behind her actions. "We all face broken pianos in our lives," she said during one televised appearance. "Things that seem impossible to fix, situations that feel designed to hold us back. But if we approach them with creativity and determination, we can turn them into something beautiful." Her words resonated deeply with audiences around the globe. Teachers wrote to her, thanking her for reminding them of the power of perseverance when working with underprivileged students. Entrepreneurs shared stories of overcoming rejection and failure, crediting her example for reigniting their drive. Young women, especially women of color, reached out to express their gratitude, saying her story gave them hope that they too could break through barriers and achieve greatness. One aspiring musician sent her a heartfelt letter, describing how she had been discouraged from pursuing her dreams because of her background. "Seeing you take something broken and make it sing gives me courage to keep going," the letter read. Elena kept it framed on her desk as a reminder of why her work mattered. Back at Harmony Tech, the response was equally overwhelming. Requests for partnerships and collaborations poured in from companies eager to integrate Elena's AI technology into their products. Music schools and nonprofits contacted her, asking how they could use Melod AI to bring music education to underserved communities. Investors who had previously hesitated to fund her startup suddenly lined up, offering substantial support to help scale her innovations. Within weeks, Harmony Tech's valuation skyrocketed, and the company secured deals that would expand its reach globally. Despite the influx of opportunities, Elena stayed grounded. She knew that success wasn't measured by wealth or fame, but by the positive impact she could create. To that end, she announced a new initiative called Keys to the Future, aimed at empowering young people, particularly girls and minorities, to pursue careers in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Through scholarships, mentorship programs, and hands-on workshops, the initiative sought to bridge the gap between talent and opportunity. Elena personally oversaw the program, ensuring it aligned with her values of inclusivity and accessibility. Her efforts didn't go unnoticed. Industry leaders praised her for using her influence to uplift others, calling her a trailblazer for future generations. Awards and accolades followed, including nominations for prestigious honors like Entrepreneur of the Year and Innovator of the Decade. Yet Elena remained humble, often deflecting praise onto her team and mentors. None, of this would be possible without the people who believed in me when I didn't believe in myself, she said during an acceptance speech. And none of it means anything unless we use it to lift others up. The ripple effects of that single evening continued to spread far beyond the ballroom. Schools began incorporating Elena's story into their curricula, teaching students about resilience and creative problem-solving. Business conferences invited her to speak, not just about her technological achievements, but also about the importance of fostering diverse voices in leadership roles. Even the executives who had orchestrated the prank reached out privately, expressing regret and admiration for how she handled the situation. Some even offered to collaborate on projects promoting equality in the workplace. As weeks turned into months, Elena reflected on the journey that had brought her to this point. She thought about her mother, whose sacrifices had laid the foundation for everything she had achieved. She remembered the countless nights spent tinkering with old keyboards, dreaming of a world where music and technology intersected seamlessly. And she thought about the broken piano, the very instrument that had become a symbol of her triumph. It was a reminder that even the most flawed circumstances could be reshaped into something extraordinary with vision, determination, and a little bit of ingenuity. By the end of the year, Elena's story had transcended industries and borders, becoming a beacon of inspiration for millions. Her company continued to thrive, breaking new ground in music and education technology. But more importantly, she had sparked a movement, a call to action for individuals and organizations to embrace challenges, celebrate diversity, and turn obstacles into opportunities. For Elena Carter, the night of the broken piano wasn't just a defining moment in her career. It was proof that resilience combined with innovation could change the world. Months after the unforgettable night of the broken piano, Elena Carter's life had transformed in ways she could never have imagined. The event that had once been a cruel prank designed to undermine her had instead become the catalyst for a global movement. Her name was now synonymous with resilience, innovation, and breaking barriers. But for Elena, this wasn't about personal glory. It was about creating lasting change. She knew that moments like these were rare opportunities to inspire others and push society toward progress. The broken piano itself became a symbol of her journey. After the event, Elena decided to restore it, not to make it functional again, but to preserve its story. She worked with a local artisan who specialized in upcycling old instruments, transforming the dilapidated piano into a stunning piece of art. Its surface was painted with intricate designs depicting themes of struggle, triumph, and unity. Inside, the broken strings were left untouched, serving as a reminder of where it all began. When the restoration was complete, Elena placed the piano in the lobby of Harmony Tech's headquarters. Beneath it, a plaque read, "Even the most flawed circumstances can create something extraordinary." It quickly became a talking point for visitors, inspiring countless conversations about perseverance and creativity. Elena's influence extended far beyond her company. As news of her achievements spread, invitations poured in from around the world. Universities asked her to deliver commencement speeches, urging graduates to embrace challenges and think outside the box. Corporations invited her to lead workshops on fostering diversity and inclusion in the workplace. Nonprofits sought her guidance on using technology to empower underserved communities. Everywhere she went, people hung on her every word, eager to learn from her experiences. Her message was simple yet profound. Don't let anyone define your worth. Use what you've been given, no matter how imperfect, and turn it into something meaningful. One of her most impactful initiatives was the Keys to the Future program. Designed to provide opportunities for young women and minorities in STEM fields, the initiative grew rapidly under Elena's leadership. Scholarships funded by Harmony Tech helped students attend top universities, while mentorship programs paired them with industry professionals who shared their journeys and offered advice. Hands-on workshops introduced participants to cutting-edge technologies, including the AI-powered synthesizer that had wowed audiences at the networking event. Many of these students went on to develop their own innovations, crediting Elena and her program for giving them the tools and confidence they needed to succeed. But perhaps the most rewarding aspect of Elena's work was seeing the tangible impact it had on individuals. Letters poured in from beneficiaries of the program, each one sharing how her efforts had changed their lives. One young woman named Maya wrote about how she had almost given up on her dream of becoming an engineer after being told repeatedly that she didn't belong in the field. "Your story reminded me that my voice matters," Maya wrote. "Because of you, I'm now interning at a robotics company, and I know I can achieve anything I set my mind to." Another letter came from a high school teacher who had used Elena's example to motivate his students. "They see themselves in you," he wrote. "You've shown them that no obstacle is too big if they're willing to fight for their dreams." As her influence grew, so did the recognition she received. Elena was featured on the covers of major magazines, hailed as a visionary leader and a champion for diversity in tech. Awards lined the shelves of her office, though she often joked that they took up space better suited for more important things, like brainstorming sessions or prototypes. Despite the accolades, she remained humble, always redirecting praise to her team and supporters. "I didn't get here alone," she would say during interviews. "Every success I've achieved is because someone believed in me when I needed it most. Now it's my turn to pay that forward." Her advocacy also sparked broader conversations about systemic issues in the corporate world. Industry leaders began reevaluating hiring practices, recognizing the value of diverse perspectives in driving innovation. Companies started implementing training programs to address unconscious bias and promote inclusivity. Even some of the executives who had initially doubted Elena reached out to collaborate on initiatives aimed at leveling the playing field for underrepresented groups. While change didn't happen overnight, the seeds Elena planted continued to grow, slowly reshaping the landscape of business and technology. On a personal level, Elena found joy in mentoring the next generation of innovators. She made it a point to meet regularly with young entrepreneurs, offering guidance and encouragement as they navigated the challenges of building their own ventures. Whether it was helping a startup refine its pitch or connecting founders with potential investors, she poured her energy into ensuring others had the resources they needed to thrive. Her door was always open, and her calendar was often filled with meetings that prioritized people over profit. To Elena, there was no greater reward than watching someone else succeed because of her support. Years later, as she reflected on her journey, Elena realized that the broken piano had been more than just a turning point. It had been a gift. It forced her to dig deep, to prove not only to others but to herself that she was capable of greatness. That single moment had taught her the power of resilience, the importance of staying true to her values, and the incredible impact one person could have on the world. And while she continued to face challenges along the way, she approached them with the same determination and creativity that had carried her through that fateful night. Today, Elena's legacy lives on in countless ways. Her company remains at the forefront of music and education technology, reaching millions of users worldwide. The Keys to the Future program has expanded into multiple countries, empowering thousands of young people to pursue careers in STEM. Schools teach her story as an example of how adversity can fuel innovation, and aspiring leaders cite her as a role model for breaking barriers and inspiring change. The broken piano, now a cherished artifact, stands as a testament to the idea that even the most imperfect circumstances can be transformed into something extraordinary with vision and perseverance. For Elena Carter, the journey was far from over. But as she looked back on everything she had accomplished, from those early days tinkering with a secondhand keyboard to standing on stages around the world, she felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. Gratitude for the struggles that shaped her, for the people who supported her, and for the opportunity to inspire others to dream bigger and aim higher. In the end, it wasn't about the awards, the recognition, or even the groundbreaking technology she had created. It was about leaving the world a little better than she found it, and proving that no matter how broken the piano might seem, the music it creates can still move hearts and change lives.